Welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, I'm Gordon. Now's a great time to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notifications bell so you'll get notified every time I upload new content. Today we're talking about black tank maintenance. I think the best place to start is the necessary items to maintain your black tank. Rubber gloves, always key to have. Now, this piece of equipment right here is a Valterra blade. So what I do with this is I use the quick connect to attach it to the very end of my tank, and then I put the cap for like when we're going to travel on this end. Have the valve closed. If anything seeps out of one of your tanks, this is your last stop before it gets all the way to your end cap, and then you don't have a surprise when you get to your campground and are setting things up. So this, very necessary. Now the next piece of equipment that I definitely think is necessary is either a clear straight fitting or an elbow that will connect right on the other side of this. And then you connect your sewer hose to this end heading to the dump station. The reason I think that the clear section is important is so you can see what's happening. If you're not using anything clear there, you don't know what's going on. You don't know, is your tanks emptied? Are all the solids gone? Is your water running clear or not? So must-have item is either a clear elbow or a clear piece of pipe like that so you can see what's happening. So this is a wand. This is a straight wand. There's two different types. There's a straight, and then they make one that's flexible, has a flexible hose. So you hook your garden hose at this end. It's got a on-off valve. And then you've got a little spray nozzle at this end. So when you turn the water on, water goes through, hits that valve, that thing sprays around like this real hard, real thin stream. So you would put this in through the top of your toilet, down into your black tank to rinse off the sidewalls. I don't use this as much on my current trailer that has tank rinsers as I did on the trailer that I had before that didn't necessarily have tank rinsers. So a good tool to have to help keep the inside of your tank clean. Now, some people use these, some people don't. Basically, this is just for you to set your sewer hose on. It helps give you a good pitch or angle for the water to flow from your trailer to the dump station, to your connection. I like to use them when I can, depending on what the conditions are at the site, because it's nice to have just a nice level flow. Nothing too steep or anything, but you'll find that sometimes you may not be able to use these just because of the condition of the ground around your site. You may have some issues with uphill or something like that, these just complicate the matter a little bit more. So then you have to get a little bit more creative. Sometimes people will use sections of rain gutter and run a section of rain gutter propped at one end on wooden blocks and then on the other end lower to get a good flow. So all of these items you can find in the description. We've linked them to our Amazon affiliates page to make it really easy for you to find these things. Another thing that I definitely use that I didn't take off the trailer that you will see later in the video is an inline water meter. It's really cheap. I attach that to my black tank valves, and when I connect my black tank hose to that for my rinsers, I know exactly how much water I'm using to rinse my tanks and how much water I'm putting into my tanks, because you always want to have water in that black tank. Welcome to our bathroom. This is where everything managing your black tanks begins. A lot of people don't show this part, but I feel that this is one of the most important parts to managing your black tank, and that is your bowl. Most people don't seem to know that when you're gonna excrete waste, you need to put a healthy amount of water in your bowl. So that means you step on your foot pedal until water starts coming out. I like to put maybe a gallon of water, somewhere between half a gallon and a gallon of water in the bowl before doing my business, because one of the most important factors in managing your black tank is having enough water working with your chemical treatment to break down those solids to where your black tank empties well. It's when you have the most problems is when you're not adding enough water to your tank or when you're maybe using the wrong kind of toilet paper. Now that's a big debate, but we always use RV toilet paper. It's not that hard to find, and for us the extra cost is worth a little bit of insurance that it's going to break down the way it's supposed to. So we always use the RV toilet paper. All right, well, welcome to my wet bay. So you'll notice I have two hoses coming in. One's for my freshwater and one is for my blackwater tank rinsers. Now I put quick connects on everything. It makes it a lot easier to connect and disconnect hoses. And another thing I use that I think is really important is this inline water meter. So when I'm rinsing my tanks, that inline water meter comes on and it kind of gives me an idea of how much water I'm using to rinse my tanks, which you'll figure out why it's important a little bit later in this video. So key thing is always make sure your black tank is at least 2/3 full before emptying it. And if it's not and you want to empty it, use your black tank rinsers to add water to it, or hold the foot pedal down on your toilet in the bathroom to add water to it and get plenty of water in there. It's critical because water is what gets all the solids and everything out. So my black tank is more than 2/3 full, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the black tank handle. Now I let that drain a little bit and then I turn my rinsers on. I let the rinsers run for probably 20 minutes and I use my inline water meter to let me know, okay, I've rinsed with 20 or 30 gallons of water. It's time to move on to the next process. So for now, let's get the black handle pulled and get this process started. So now that most of the liquids are out, I'm going to go ahead and turn my black tank rinsers on and let them do their job. Now I use one of those flexible hoses, the expandable ones. Used to be called a pocket hose back in the day when they first came out. And what I like about this hose is it has an on-off valve right at the end of the hose where it connects to my tank. So the line is charged right now with water. And I'm going to turn it on and start rinsing the tanks. All right, welcome back. It's been about 10 minutes. I've had about almost 30 gallons of water, 28.8 gallons of water go through the rinse process. So here's one of the things that I do that helps ensure that my black tank stays clean and working the way it's designed to work. So what I do is at this point, now that I've rinsed everything out and I've got nothing but clear water starting to show in my line, which is why it's important that you have either a clear elbow or a clear section of pipe 4 inches or so long so you can see what's happening. And when you get to clear water, what I do at this point in time is I go ahead and close the valve. Okay, so now I just shut the black tank valve. And here's another reason why having an inline water meter is so critical, is I'll reset my meter now back to 0, and now I'm going to turn my water back on for my tank rinsers. Now what I do immediately after that is I go to my phone and I start a timer for 10 minutes. That way I'll get an alarm notification, hey, it's been 10 minutes. That way if I get distracted doing something else, you know, cleaning up around the RV, or somebody comes and starts talking to me, the alarm on my phone goes off and I know, I gotta go check. So do not do this process if you're not gonna set a reminder of some sort, because if you forget about it and you get distracted, that water's gotta go somewhere. So you may have water come up through your tank inside, or it may go up your vent cap and come out on the roof. Certainly don't want that to happen. That's why it's always critical to set a reminder, stay close to it. And the reason that I use the meter is I know that I have a 49-gallon black tank. Now I like to get that maybe 20 gallons of water, 30 gallons of water in the black tank, and then I'll pull the handle again and let it rinse out. Again, with the clear elbow or the clear joint, I watch what's happening and I see. If I don't see any kind of waste or any solids traveling through the hose, then I feel pretty confident that it's clean, and now it's time to go ahead and complete the process. Now if I still see plenty of waste or solids going through, then I will do this process again until all I see is clears. Now sometimes in between, if I'm going to do this process more than once, I will let the tank rinsers just run for 5 minutes with the valve open and keep an eye on what's going on and make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Alright, so the 10 minutes is up and my meter says I have 24 gallons of water that I've put into my black tank, which means I'm about half full. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the black tank handle again, and again I'm going to go over and I'm going to watch what's coming out to have a visual understanding of how clean my tank is. Alright, so the black tank is finished draining, all the liquids are out, so here's the next really important part. Okay, so I just closed the black tank valve. I'm going to reset my inline water meter. And if you remember when we were in the bathroom, I talked about the importance of water in the entire process. So what I'm going to do now is with the inline water meter and my black tank rinsers, I'm going to add a minimum of 5 gallons of water. So imagine if you had a container that was dry or empty, your black tank, and you dropped solids into it, they're going to stick. They need liquids in the tank before you start using it, and the liquid that you put in the toilet bowl is not enough. So I always put a minimum of 5 gallons to start, and then like I said, I use anywhere between half a gallon and a gallon of water when I'm putting solids in the toilet bowl, and that helps maintain plenty of liquids inside the black tank. While you're adding the water to your black tank, the other thing you can do is go ahead and pull the handle on your gray tank and let it start washing the pipe out and cleaning the pipe out and getting empty all at the same time. Since I have two, my gray tank number 1 is the bathroom gray tank, and my gray tank number 2 is for the kitchen. I usually go with the kitchen tank first just in case there's any food particles or anything in there. The one from the bathroom will help clean any of that stuff out. However, we try not to put any kind of particles, grease, or anything like that into our gray tanks. We usually use paper towels to wipe any kind of plates, bowls, or frying pans off before we do dishes, because we want as little food particles as possible getting into that gray tank. Okay, so that one is started, and at this point I'm at about 5 gallons in my black tank, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the water supply to that and continue working on the gray tanks. Alright, so black tanks are empty, both gray tanks are empty, my handles are closed, which means my valves are closed. So now it's time to go inside and finish the process. We're not done yet. Okay, so we finished everything outside. Now it's time to finish up inside. We always use Happy Camper as our chemical treatment for our black tank. It works awesome, and we haven't had any problems. So shameless ad here. You'll find this along with everything else we talked about in our description below on our Amazon affiliates page. So the way I do this, because it is a pretty fine powder, is I'll get the scooper out. I get 1 scoop of the treatment, which is the recommended amount for our size holding tank. And I'll have a little bit of water in the toilet already, but I'll step on the pedal a little bit to start filling the bowl up. And as that starts filling up, I'll just kind of sprinkle it in, like so. I get about a gallon of water, maybe a little bit more in here as I'm sprinkling. This helps prevent it from clumping up, because if you just dump it in, you're going to end up with a clump. So I feel that's about enough water. I'll just go ahead and push the pedal down all the way. I'll let it run a little bit. And there you go. She's ready until the next time. It's that easy, guys. Now, I've been using this method and this process for more than 4 years in more than one RV, and we've never had a problem with our black tank.